We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with some big news regarding Brock Lesnar, and more specifically about Brock Lesnar's rumored return to WWE. As many of you are likely aware, ever since the end of 2020, rumors have went around regarding Brock Lesnar coming back to WWE after being last seen in the ring at WrestleMania 37 in a loss against Drew McIntyre. And while Brock Lesnar did not return for the 2021 Royal Rumble like it had been speculated, nor did the Beast Incarnate come back for WrestleMania 37, it appears as though it's only a matter of time before Brock Lesnar graces fans with his presence once again in the very near future. For those of you unaware, Brock Lesnar is now listed on WWE.com as an active superstar on the Raw brand, meaning that Brock has likely secretly signed a new contract with WWE and is getting ready for his return. And by all means, this does make sense considering fans are returning to WWE events next month, and Brock made it clear that he was open to returning to wrestling once things were relatively back to normal and fans were able to attend events again. Now, with Brock Lesnar listed as an active member of the Raw roster, the rumored storyline of Brock Lesnar coming back on SmackDown to set his sights on Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman likely will not be happening, and instead, Brock will be setting his sights on the WWE Championship scene with the likes of Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Once the news started going around regarding Brock Lesnar being listed as an active member of the WWE roster, some fans speculated that perhaps Brock Lesnar's return was the reason for the recent shock WWE releases, including Braun Strowman, with the theory here being that the WWE needed some extra money to be able to afford Brock Lesnar to return, but one of our sources has mentioned that those rumors are not true, and that the WWE are simply wanting to clean up the rosters, and more releases could very well be on the way, which we will discuss later, and Brock Lesnar apparently did not have anything to do with it. At least that's what the WWE is trying to make clear. Make sure you guys sound off in the comment section down below if you're excited for Brock Lesnar returning to WWE in the near future, and is the potential storyline of Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley of any interest to you, or is Lesnar coming back to WWE bad news considering many of Monday Night Raw's full-time superstars will likely be pushed to the sidelines and Brock will be back on top as the WWE Champion, who will definitely be a part-timer and not around all the time, something that fans have complained about in the past whenever Brock Lesnar was the top champion in WWE. With the recent WWE releases, there has been a truly shocking rumor going around that a potential reason for all the WWE firings is because Vince McMahon is preparing to sell the WWE, something that has been rumored here and there for several years now, although it did always seem like a far-fetched idea that Vince would ever part with WWE. The companies that would be the most likely to buy WWE currently are NBC Universal and Disney. Now, without question, these rumors of WWE possibly selling off the company are downright shocking, although it still is hard to believe that Vince McMahon would completely sell off WWE to the point where he has little to no say in the way the companies run, and perhaps a partial sell is more what Vince is considering, but nonetheless this is still big news, as many fans were sure that Vince would never sell WWE and instead pass it down to his family to run. Regardless, if these rumors of WWE selling the company are true, there's no doubt that the company are in a good financial state at the moment, as profits have never been higher for WWE, and with the recent releases, there will be less expenses and more profits, making WWE come across as a worthwhile investment or buy for NBC or Disney or any other company. Let us know your thoughts and opinions of Vince McMahon possibly planning to sell the WWE, and do you feel that this would be a good decision, or should Vince keep the company and let the newer generation of McMahons run the WWE when Vince McMahon steps down eventually in the future? Now, there's no doubt that many wrestling fans are still shocked and baffled at Braun Strowman's release from WWE, because it cannot be argued that Braun Strowman seemed like he had a stable permanent position in WWE, and was one of the top superstars in the company that would never be released unless Braun did something crazy to warrant a release. Braun had a massive feud against Shane McMahon for WrestleMania 37, and literally just competed for the WWE Championship a couple of weeks ago, so Strowman's release truly came out of nowhere to say the least, and it is a bizarre decision considering Braun was one of Vince McMahon's projects and seemed to be in Vince's good books as the monstrous big man who could be featured as a mid-card monster just as easily as he could be a top main event world title contender. Braun was a WWE superstar through and through, and despite not being quite as relevant as he was a while back, Braun was definitely still one of the most popular names in all of WWE. However, Braun Strowman's release from WWE truly sends a message to all the WWE superstars that no one's job is truly ever completely safe. But thankfully for Strowman, he is still a wrestling superstar that has a lot of potential to be a big star for another wrestling promotion given the right booking. According to a new backstage rumor, AEW, All Elite Wrestling are planning to try and sign Braun Strowman once his non-compete clause with WWE runs up, with AEW feeling like Braun Strowman would be a very worthwhile addition to their roster as a main event monster, as Braun is talented enough in the ring and is already a big name with a massive fan base. While some fans feel AEW should not just sign any WWE release, as a company would then start to have the reputation of being where all the WWE rejects go, AEW apparently feel like Braun Strowman is the furthest thing from a WWE reject, and that his release was a big mistake on WWE's part, and that Braun is still more than capable of doing some big things in professional wrestling. Let us know your thoughts and opinions of AEW, reportedly planning to bring Braun Strowman over to AEW in the near future when his non-compete clause with WWE runs up. And do you feel that Braun Strowman would be a worthwhile signing for AEW? Or do you agree with the fans who feel Braun does not have very much to offer anymore, and that AEW should steer clear of Braun Strowman and not sign him? While the WWE have certainly made some massive releases and firings already in 2021, with the likes of Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, and Riott, WWE may not be finished with their releases, and more shocking WWE firings could be occurring in the near future. According to a breaking new backstage report, Vince McMahon and WWE could still be planning some more WWE releases in the coming days and weeks, and with WWE proving that they are more than willing to release and fire some big name superstars like Braun Strowman. Like we mentioned before, truly no superstar on the current WWE roster is safe, aside from the likes of Roman Reigns, who is arguably the top superstar in WWE and would never be let go by Vince under any circumstances. One of our sources has mentioned that the wrestlers WWE are possibly planning to release in the coming days include the following: Jeff Hardy, Liv Morgan, Asuka, Otis, Keith Lee, The Fiend Bray Wyatt, among others. But those are the biggest WWE superstars who could be released and let go by the company soon. And make sure you guys sound off in the comment section down below your thoughts on WWE possibly releasing more superstars in the near future, including the likes of The Fiend Bray Wyatt and Keith Lee.